Hey yo, what's up? Welcome to Two Toe Tags Metal Reviews. And today, we're going to give you guys our first impressions of the brand new album from Suffocation, Of the Dark Light.
Alright, so Suffocation is a death metal band that neither of us are really too familiar with. So, this is, their new release. They've been around for a while, though, since, I believe, the late 80s. So they've got
These
a
guys
big
have been around for a long time. I can't say that I'm completely going in blind. I do own a couple Suffocation albums, but I kind of bought them on a whim, threw them on my iPod. They come on once in a while. Sometimes I'll put them on and listen to them. But I never really gave them a true, honest chance and really listened to them and dove into them. I don't know much about the band themselves. I don't even know how many members are in this band. All I know is a new album came out. I'm willing to check it out. He's willing to check it out.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to go check it out right now.
Check it out.
Listening to it from front to end for the first time. We'll be back with our first impressions of this album in just a few minutes. Stay tuned.
Alright, we just got finished listening to Of the Dark Light by Suffocation. What do you think?
I'm first. All right. Well, that's a sigh, by the way. And there's a reason for that sigh, because that's kind of how I feel. Just... Okay, no, let's talk about some stuff. Okay, gotta talk about. We took notes. Like we did for the last album we reviewed, and we're going to continue to do this because this is the best way to do it in our opinion.
Yes.
I'm going to talk about the worst song on the album and the best song on the album. Again, just want to stress this, first impressions only, okay? It's not a final review. We just listened to the album once in its entirety from front to end. This is what we get from it. So I like to finish on a high note, so I'm going to talk about my worst song first, which happens to be the last song on the album, which was titled Epitaph of the Credulous. I believe that's how you pronounce the word. So the notes I have for that are that I'm not getting any good vibes from it. It's bland. I was using like basically synonymous things with that, to be honest. Throughout the album, the whole album, there were several parts where like the kind of music stopped and there's just a little like a bass line, like
Yeah, I love
rad.
that.
They were cool,
but
it was overplayed. They overdid it, and the last song. They did it again. I think they did it 2 or 3 times on this song.
Yeah, it
Or
sounded
at least
good,
2.
but I thought to myself,
Yeah,
they
it's
did
like,
it
why do
again.
they keep doing this? So at that point, I was done with it. I was over it, that, kind of thing. So, wasn't feeling that song. Gave that the lowest rating out of all the songs.
One thing to mention, though, about that song is how it ended. It ended with, like, a fade-out, right?
Yeah.
I thought the fade-out was way too quick. I feel like, because of the last song, they could, like, smash you into the ground and make it feel like the dust is settling, but it just kind of, and it fades, but it's really short fade.
Yeah, it's like an abrupt fade.
It's
which is.
I'm like, I want to feel the dust crumble,
Try to end on a bit of a higher note for me. Track 1, complete opposite end of the album, was the best song in the album. Definitely opened up with the best track. So the notes I have for that, it was immediately intense. It does sound like just typical death metal. It sounds like typical Suffocation. As I mentioned earlier, I do have a couple Suffocation albums that I put on from time to time. This definitely blends in right with those. There's a sick breakdown in this song. Nice double bass patterns. A rad guitar solo with wails. That's what really got me.
Oh my god.
Those wails.
That fucking solo.
Oh man, the guitar solo was
screaming at
mint. Strong outro, just badass. Yeah, like that song. I'm definitely going to be going back to that song probably more than any other song on the album, but I'm going to give this album as many listens as I can throughout the week. Maybe another song will grow on me, but as it sits right now, I think track 1 is going to be very hard to beat based on the rest of the tracks, all kind of blended in together. Track 1 was the only song that really stood out, the only one that really got me going and pumped up. And yeah, that's it for me. Let's hear what you got to say, Mr. Fish.
All right, so I'm gonna go the same way you did. Leave on a high note. And
Yep.
My least favorite song was, I believe, third last. Something should be left alone.
Number 7. Yeah. Okay.
With a lot of the songs in this album after the first one, it just kind of plateaued at what the theme and the style of how they were going by it,
Yeah,
I found.
yeah.
So by this one, it's like nothing was impressing me. I was just like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like-
just to note, that's my second lowest rated song too. So I wasn't feeling that song either. It did have a good solo to end the song though.
It
I
did,
thought it had a
yeah, I
decent
liked
solo,
that.
Not bad. It wasn't great, but not bad.
But it also had the theme that almost every song had, where it would start out okay, and then halfway through it would sound a lot better.
Yeah.
And
That was a reoccurring theme on this album.
that kept happening over and
Yeah.
over.
The
And
songs,
by this
the songs
song,
get better halfway through.
by the time this one came on, like I just sat there like, okay, like,
Yeah.
there's nothing
We're done with
special
that, yeah.
here. Because, and a lot of them had that. Favorite song, same as you,
Track one.
was Deprivation, or Clarity Through Deprivation.
Clarity Through Deprivation.
It just was there, and I'm just
slays, man.
taken aback, like, holy shit, this song.
Yeah, it slays.
Because it had a lot of, what I found through some of the songs, it had a few small melodic phrases, which I liked. I'm like, oh, it's hitting hard, and it's got these small little bits here. This song had that. The vocals at first, I'm like, it's kind of flat. The music's doing all this kind of stuff, and the vocals really have no effect on them. It's just there. It's just straight. But by the time the breakdown happened, something about it sounded better. I don't know if they gave him a small bit of reverb. I'm not sure. Just something about it sounded better for me. And once again, that guitar solo was crazy.
Yeah.
Holy
That's insane hill. All right, so what are your final thoughts anyway on this album?
It's
First impressions. I want to keep reiterating that. First impressions only. But what are your final thoughts on your first listen to of the Dark Light by Suffocation?
It's okay. It got stale for me because a lot of the same things kept happening. Get better halfway through. You hear the bass thing over and over. Sometimes they stop and then something happens.
Yeah.
It's just everything kind of just melded into the same stuff.
Just to be clear, we're talking about bass guitar, not bass drums.
Yeah, and the first track set my expectations a little bit high because of how good it was.
Yeah, it sets your expectations up here, and then all of a sudden it goes
And
to
then
here, it plateaus, and then it dips
And
at
then
the end.
Yeah, so it overall was like okay, not like fantastic.
Yeah.
But this is the first impression, so that could change for the better or for worse throughout the week through the future listens.
Yeah. So yeah, my final thoughts. Again, I just basically the first track was the best, as we just talked about. The whole album, although, felt a bit lackluster. So I said, for a band that's been playing together for nearly 30 years, this is proof of one of two things. Either they've landed in their comfort zone and they stick with it, or they just quickly pounded out an album because their record label told them, you got an album due. You're under contract. You need an album due. We got to put it out in June. We'll put something out. So they went to the studio and they went, okay, blah, 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 da, 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 yo, 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 and that's it. They didn't care what it sounds like. They didn't care if every song kind of sounded the same. No technical diversity.
I appreciated their technicality. Like a lot of the stuff they were doing, it's like, okay, this is some deep stuff.
Yeah.
And what really saved it for that was I found the small melodic bits and how it wouldn't just
It's
drone
not
on like one thing. It would
not
go
enough.
places.
I think definitely hardcore fans of death metal could appreciate this. If you're a fan of Suffocation, this fits right in the vein of Suffocation. Like I said, I have a couple of the Suffocation albums. It fits right in that vein. But this is not, as far as I'm concerned right now, not something that I'm going to want to listen to on its own in its entirety very often. That's my first impression of it.
Yeah, it's it has potential to grow. We'll see what happens, but the first impression is not too great. So anyway, you guys should continue watching because next week will come our final review of this album. And like, comment, favorite, subscribe, everything, all that stuff, please. And once again, I am TB Fish.
I'm Vile Self.
We'll see you guys